Hello and welcome to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. If you are new, welcome. I'm really glad you found us. You're in the right place. And if you've been listening for a while, welcome back. I am so grateful for you. It is because of you, our listeners, that we come back week after week for amazing, insightful, and intentional conversation. Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life is a place, a space, a community for honest conversation about inner work that shapes our lives. It's not about fixing ourselves or doing it right. It's about learning how to live with more presence, integrity, intention, and self-awareness. If we haven't met yet, I'm Laurel Boivin. I'm one of the co-hosts of Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. I'm a leadership coach and a speaker. My dear friend and podcast partner, Laurel Holland, is a life coach and an author. She will be back in the coming weeks for more good conversation. You'll find more information about each of us, the work that we do, and how to contact us in the show notes. So let's get started. If you are listening in real time, it is the beginning of February 2026, and I want to take a moment and acknowledge there is a lot happening in the world right now. Here in the United States, many people are carrying heartbreak, disappointment, fear, and uncertainty. Even when each of us in our own life, maybe our own life feels relatively steady, safe. It is hard not to feel the weight of what's happening in the world around us. The news, the conversations we're hearing or maybe having, and this sense that things are fragile or unsettled in the world, that really can be heavy. So if you feel distracted, heavier than usual, more anxious or exhausted, you are not alone and you're not imagining it. All of those feelings are part of this collective experience we're having. And when something is happening in the collective, when it's happening to us collectively, this energy, the unsettled, anxious, fearful energy can show up in our bodies. It can show up in our relationships, in our work. It can show up in how we show up in the world around us. It affects us. And often this energy, this collective energy, we can experience it individually. And so if there's a collective pain happening in the world, we can experience pain. And that's what I want to explore today. Pain. And how do we move forward despite the pain that we experience? Despite the pain that exists in the world around us. So today we're talking about when pain becomes a portal. Let me start by telling you what I mean. I do not mean that pain is good. I don't mean that pain is required or necessary for our growth. I don't believe that. And I don't mean that pain has to be turned into something more meaningful right away. It does not. What I mean is that sometimes when we're supported, when we slow down, when we meet ourselves with honesty and care, with self-compassion, pain can open something inside of us. It can open up a new awareness. Pain can be a portal, but a portal is not a solution. It's simply an opening, a threshold, a doorway, a moment where something new becomes possible, not because pain demands it, but because we're willing to pay attention. When we talk about pain, it's important to know that pain is not just one thing. There are so many different ways that pain shows up. Pain can be physical, illness, injury, chronic tension, exhaustion that doesn't go away. Pain can be emotional. It can be grief, sadness, anger, loneliness, loss that lingers below the surface. Pain can be psychological, anxiety, shame, self-judgment, self-criticism, or the pressure you put on yourself to hold it all together. Pain can be relational, comparison, conflict, disconnection, feeling unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. It can be the ache of wanting closeness and connection and not knowing where to find it. Pain can be spiritual. It can be questioning the meaning and purpose in life. It can be questioning direction, belonging, and what you don't believe anymore. Some pain is deeply personal, and some of it is collective. Often, it is both. If you are someone who's highly sensitive, intuitive, or empathetic, collective pain doesn't stay outside of you. It moves through your body. It can show up as fatigue, nervousness, heaviness, or this low-grade, ever-present sense of uneasiness that's hard to put your finger on. I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you. Your sensitivity is not a shortcoming. It is not a flaw. It is a form of intelligence. And it is information that you need to take care of yourself differently than other people do. And how can you take care of yourself? I'm going to offer you are allowed to limit your exposure to the news or to energy that is not a match for your own. You're allowed to step away from conversations that overwhelm or activate your nervous system. You're allowed to ground yourself in your body when the world feels unsafe and unsteady around you. Sensitivity requires good boundaries. It's often tempting to participate in activities or engage in activities that numb the pain. However, that is not what is needed. Presence, not numbing. Presence, not pressure, is what is needed most when pain is present. And when pain becomes a portal, it's not because pain has changed. If you can move through pain, if you can step through that threshold and having more self-awareness because of your pain, it really doesn't mean that pain has changed. It is really because your relationship to pain has changed. Instead of fighting it, avoiding it, or judging ourselves, let it be. Let yourself sit with and learn from pain. And do not rush to make something meaningful out of it. Just pause, be with it, acknowledge it. Because when we pause, when we listen, we can then have more information. Pain often carries information with it. It points us towards what matters, what needs tending, what needs our attention, and where we might be out of alignment. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stay present long enough to hear this information, to hear the wisdom and insight in our pain. I also want to remind you of this. If the pain that you are carrying or experiencing feels overwhelming, if it is connected to loss, anxiety, or fear about the future, if it feels like more than you can handle at this time on your own, please know you don't have to do this alone. Support is all around you. Support can look like a therapist, a coach, a trusted friend, a doctor, a healer, a spiritual guide. Because healing needs support, because healing happens in relationships. We learn about ourselves by being in relationship and being supported by others. So I want to offer a few gentle questions for you. These aren't meant to be answered all at once. Sit quietly with one or two, or simply notice what arises as you read these questions. They will be in the show notes. Where is pain showing up in your life right now? Physically, emotionally, psychologically, relationally, and spiritually. How have you learned to relate to pain? Do you push through it, avoid it, analyze it, or judge yourself for it? What happens if you meet pain with presence instead of pressure? What does pain seem to be asking of you? Is your pain asking for rest, stronger boundaries, self-expression, support, or compassion? And finally, what would it feel like to stop carrying pain alone? You don't need all the answers. You just need to pause and allow yourself to be honest and intentional. Pain doesn't prevent you from having a beautiful life. Sometimes when we are ready, when we're supported, when we slow down, pain becomes a portal into deeper self-awareness, better self-care, and more intentional choice. As we wrap up, I want to offer you this invitation. If you're finding it hard to navigate the world right now, if the amount of uncertainty and fear in the world has your nervous system on high alert, if you are overwhelmed, activated, worn down, or exhausted, please reach out for support. Laurel and I are here for you. You do not have to figure out how to stay grounded during these times all by yourself. We would be happy to support you. Thank you again for being here and being part of our community. Your inner work is making a difference, not only for you, but for all of us collectively. We'll be back next week for more. Until then, be well. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now.